Most side hustles don't fail because the idea is bad, they fail because the structure is weak. And that's why so many disappear before year 2, not with a dramatic collapse, but with a slow fade. Less consistency, less energy, fewer results, until it quietly stops. In this video, we're going to break down the real reasons side hustles stall, the challenges that make them brittle, and the practical systems that turn extra work on the side into something sustainable. Let's start with what side hustle failure usually looks like. It's not always a big moment where someone throws their hands up and quits. More often, it's a pattern. You miss a week, then 2, then you stop trusting the process, and eventually you stop showing up. And the causes are surprisingly predictable. Structural issues beyond mere motivation. It's tempting to blame a failed side hustle on discipline, but most of the time, the issue is operational. People launch with energy, but without workflow, no defined offer, no way to track leads, no system for deliverables, no repeatable routine, so every single task requires fresh effort, fresh thought, fresh decisions. That's exhausting. And it forces progress to rely on heroics, late nights, frantic weekends, last-minute pushes, rather than a reliable, repeatable system. Unrealistic expectations and weak boundaries. A second failure point is expectation. A lot of side hustles start with the belief that you'll get quick wins, passive income, or something that takes off fast. But most side hustles are a slow, iterative climb. And without boundaries, the side hustle gets the worst hours of your week. Late nights, fragmented weekends, low energy windows. If your best creative hours are being spent in your main job, your side hustle gets leftovers. And that's where burnout starts. Unclear offers and dependence on heroics. Another big one. Vague value. Many side hustles never properly define what they do, who it's for, and why it matters. They try to serve everyone, they post everywhere, they say yes to anything that looks like money, and because the offer isn't clear, marketing becomes scattershot, and delivery becomes chaotic. Then early wins happen, but only because you overextend. Skipping sleep, sacrificing health, firefighting every issue personally. The problem is growth doesn't fix that. Growth amplifies it. Failure patterns as lessons for better design. Here's the part most people miss. A stalled or failed side hustle leaves behind data. Where did friction show up? What assumptions broke? What tasks drained the most energy? Where did consistency fall apart? The most resilient founders treat setbacks as design signals, not personal shortcomings. They build feedback loops, they refine the offer, they improve the system. The goal isn't perfection, it's survivability. Now let's talk about the lived reality of running a side hustle, because the emotional and logistical load is usually underestimated. Balancing life, work, and the side hustle. Your cognitive bandwidth is finite. A primary job takes attention. Family and responsibilities take attention. Your health needs attention, and a side hustle sits on top of all of that. So if you're constantly tired, constantly stretched, constantly behind, it's not because you're broken, it's because the system is fighting you. A lot of side hustlers also struggle with the lack of external accountability. No manager, no team, no deadlines that someone else enforces, so momentum must be self-generated, and that's hard when life is busy. Late nights, weekends, and well-being risks. Most side hustles are built on the margins. After hours, late nights, weekends. And yes, the 5 to 9 grind gets celebrated, but it can quietly erode your well-being. Burnout isn't just a vibe, it's a measurable risk when sleep, training, social life, and recovery are consistently sacrificed. And the irony is painful. The hustle designed to create freedom becomes a source of depletion. Designing consistency into routines. Consistency is often treated like a personality trait, but in practice, it's system design. High-performing side hustlers don't rely on motivation. They reduce friction. They time block. They batch tasks. They create habit loops. They build routines that make progress automatic. Because if your side hustle depends on feeling inspired, it won't survive year 2. Underpricing and scattered marketing. 2 more common traps: pricing and marketing. Underpricing often comes from trying to win customers with low fees, but it usually signals low confidence, creates thin margins, and forces you to take on too much work to make it worthwhile. Then marketing becomes scattered, trying to be everywhere at once. The most resilient side hustles usually master one channel first, one platform, one audience, one routine, and only expand once there's proof it's working. Absence of simple tracking for time and energy. Finally, no tracking. Without basic metrics, you can't tell if you're progressing or just staying busy. A side hustle can feel productive while producing nothing. Tracking isn't micromanagement, it's visibility. Time spent, energy levels, revenue milestones, outbound actions. Once you can see patterns, you can adjust them. So, how do you build a side hustle that actually lasts? You start by making it smaller, clearer, and easier to repeat. Leaner offers and realistic boundaries. Most people overcomplicate their offer. They try to solve too many problems, for too many people, too early. Instead, one audience, one core solution, one clear promise. That makes the offer easier to explain, easier to sell, and easier to deliver. Then boundaries. Time blocking is essential. Treat the side hustle like a client commitment, not a hobby you squeeze in when you've got spare energy. Protect your best hours for high-impact work, and stop letting the hustle bleed into every evening. Simple systems for visible progress. Motivation fades when progress isn't visible. So create a simple operating system. Track weekly actions and outcomes. Batch similar tasks to reduce context switching. Automate what you can, scheduling, follow-ups, reminders. Run a weekly review to adjust priorities. The point isn't to create bureaucracy, it's to build a feedback loop. If you rely on willpower, you'll eventually lose. If you rely on systems, you'll compound. Strategies to avoid burnout and stay motivated. Burnout is a leading cause of side hustle attrition. So design for sustainable pace, not heroics. Set stop times. Schedule breaks. Say no earlier. And track energy as closely as revenue. If you're consistently exhausted, something is wrong with the system, not your character. Also, treat motivation as a byproduct. It comes from progress, not from pep talks. Use habit loops. Trigger, action, reward. Make sessions automatic. Celebrate small wins. Building a supportive network. Isolation is a silent killer. When you're building alone, every setback feels personal. So build a network. Peers, mentors, communities, collaborators. This isn't just about clients. It's about learning faster, borrowing proven strategies, and staying steady through inevitable dips. Mindset shifts. Challenges as opportunities. And this is the big one. Adopt an experimenter's mindset. Failures are feedback, not verdicts. If a channel underperforms, adjust the input. If pricing is wrong, test a new structure. If delivery is draining, redesign the offer. Resilience is your competitive advantage, not talent, not hustle, not hype. Outlasting the turbulence is how most side hustles win. Let's convert all of this into actions you can actually take. Structure your side hustle from day one. Treat it like a business, not a hobby. Define the model. Separate finances with a dedicated account. Set up invoicing and basic bookkeeping. Put tax dates in your calendar early. Structure creates momentum and it removes friction later. Set up and validate offers on a timeline. A lot of side hustlers stall through over-planning, so use a rapid validation cycle. Outline the offer, define the target audience, launch a minimum viable version quickly, then spend the first 30 days testing with real people. Not perfect people, real people. Track results, iterate fast. This prevents paperwork paralysis and ensures you're solving a real problem before investing heavily. Commit to consistent marketing and engagement. Visibility is non-negotiable. Pick 1 or 2 platforms where your audience already is. Commit to a simple cadence, like 3 posts a week. Share practical insights, behind-the-scenes problem solving, and real outcomes. Build trust through consistency. And remember, owned channels compound. Email lists and SEO content tend to outlive algorithms. Track progress and adapt your strategy. Track key metrics: revenue, audience growth, engagement, conversions. Do weekly or monthly reviews. Adjust based on evidence, not emotion. And where possible, use tools that reduce support and admin overhead, so you can focus on the work that moves the needle. Designed for sustainability, not just survival. The goal isn't to survive long enough to say you're hustling. The goal is to build something viable that fits your life. Set boundaries, batch tasks, time block sessions. Stick with one model until it stabilizes. And keep your expectations honest. Meaningful results often take 6 to 12 months. Real replacement level income can take years. But if you build systems, protect your well-being, and keep iterating, you give your side hustle the one thing most never get: time. Most side hustles don't fail because the founder wasn't hungry enough. They fail because the hustle never became a system. If you want yours to survive year 2, make it leaner, clearer, more repeatable, and build it around boundaries, not sacrifice. Because sustainable progress beats heroic effort every time. Thank you for watching.